Greetings, everyone. This is Payman, your host of the Leader Out podcast. Today, I have a very special guest, one of the most amazing, inspiring guests, friends, not just a guest, friends I've met through the podcast just recently. We connected not long ago, 2, 3 weeks ago, to the wonderful serving circle, I believe. And we had supposed to have a conversation, just me and her. And then, surprise, it was not her, but it was also her best friend, her husband, her soulmate, twin flame, whatever you want to call it. And these two are absolute joy to talk to. So I had the pleasure of having first Norm, Dr. Norm, her husband, on the podcast to share his incredible story. And then last week we had one of the most amazing conversation I had. It wasn't even a podcast episode. It was a conversation between three friends just talking. It was me, her, and Norm at the same time. That was beautiful. You must watch that, guys, because that's one of the most powerful, beautiful, and just enjoyable conversations. And then today I have here the honor of having Barbara alone. Barbara, a little bit about her. She's a sign language interpreter. She's teaching a class called Authentic Communication and Sales Process, and she's also a wellness coach, and she also has been teaching entrepreneurs, startups about authentic communication, as well as coaching university students to compete at the international stage. And she's helping people to give birth to their hopes and dreams and ideas. So she's doing a lot of amazing things, and but what really is incredible about her is not what she's doing, but who she is, because she has an incredible story. And my podcast is all about knowing the person heart to heart. Sure, we're going to talk about her achievements, her business, but what this is all about is about getting to know her. And we're going to do that today. So Barbara, welcome to the show, my friend. It's an honor having you.
It's an honor to be here, Lorenzo. Thank you.
Pleasure's all
I'm
mine.
so glad our paths have crossed.
Absolutely. Same here. Same here. So for people who don't know you as a person, as a human being, who's Barbara? We're going to talk about your business and all that later, but as a human being, as a mother, as a woman, as a soul, who's Barbara?
That's a tough question. I think people get to know me best when they're in my space, when we're in conversation together. I am a mother of 4 kids. I am a listener. I love to be on the receiving end of what people are doing, what they're up to. I really don't like just surface conversations. I like to get into the deep of it. I enjoy knowing who people are. And that is, I think anybody that knows me knows that that's generally how people see me. That's how I show up. That's who I be.
Beautiful. Love that. We're going to dive deep into that in a moment. But first, I'd like to start with a series of rapid fire questions to further get to know you as a person. Ready?
I hope so.
All right.
I'm usually the one asking the questions. So it's like, oh no, what are you going to ask?
You're going to be on the receiving end. So
there you go. Yes.
Tell us, what makes you happy as a person?
People make me happy when people are kind to each other. I really believe that there is a connection in people that I absolutely love. That makes me happy when I get to be with people in that way.
Mm-hmm.
I also love being in my garden.
Oh, yes.
I love being in the dirt, just doing stuff in the garden. I also love my kids. I love being with them. I have a conversation. I've got 4 children. And the 2 that are out of town, I have a scheduled appointment every week. I get with them on Zoom or FaceTime or something and chat with them. Love that. I also love hanging out with my husband, doing the things that we do, both constantly exercising our brain to learn more, to do, to figure out, especially in this day and age with social media and artificial intelligence and all of that.
Yes.
Yeah, those things make me happy. I'm sure there's more that's just kind of eluding me right now.
Beautiful. Now, what makes you smile?
Oh. I smile easily and I smile a lot. So that's a tough one. Do I call you Payman or Lorenzo?
Payman is my first name, and Lorenzo is when I travel. That's my middle name because it's easier. But
Okay.
for my podcast and for business, I use my first name, which is Payman.
Okay. Because Norm and I were discussing that. So it is Payman. All right.
It can be
Okay.
whatever.
Okay. Because you got them reversed in the way that
As I say in Pijat, same, but different.
yeah, there you go. There you go. So what makes me smile?
Yes.
Well, I'll give you a story. Payman, I went out. I've got 9 little hens that I've got chickens in my yard.
Oh, beautiful.
So about 6 weeks ago, I got little chicks, and they were in a big bucket in my office. People would come on calls with me and say, "Where are you?" I'd say, "Oh, I'm here in my office with my chickens." So I've finally put them outside about a week or so ago, but one of them wasn't looking good. So now I have one chicken in my office, and she's doing better. She wasn't looking good. She was like all puffed up, and she wasn't looking very healthy. She wasn't moving around much, and she was sitting right by the heat lamp. Well, she's been eating and drinking water today, so that makes me smile.
Beautiful.
It's those things, just
some of the best things are the simplest things.
Yeah. I agree.
We need to get back with that because that's like being back to nature, close to family, to loved ones, doing what you enjoy. Stay away from electronics and have real life conversations to the person next to you, to your neighbor, as opposed to someone on your phone,
Yes. And sometimes we have to do it on the phone, but that's okay.
Yes.
That's okay.
Yes. Find a balance.
What about you? What makes you smile?
What makes me smile? Personally, I would say kids. I have 2 beautiful nephews. One just turned 95, so 2005, so that's 2015, sorry, he's just turned 8. And then the youngest one, he was born in February, so he just turned just 4 months old. When I see them, I smile. We have a lovely dog. The dog he's a Labrador. He absolutely stole my heart. Each time I see him, that makes me smile. What makes me smile is seeing other people happy, helping people, inspiring people, empowering people. That makes me smile. And I love watching comedy. I love watching comedies. So sometimes even watch cartoons, Tom and Jerry, whatever. So
how fun. Yeah, kids are a delight. I don't have any kids at home now, so my animals make me smile. I've got a dog, and I have a cat named Beauregard, and the dog has to sit before the dog goes outside. Her name is Mocha. So Mocha goes outside. The cat has learned to go to the door and sit. And she looks up at me like, "Are you going to let me out?" So she sits, and I say, "Okay, go ahead." And so she'll come back in the house when I call her. And that makes me smile, because people think cats can't do that, but mine does.
Oh, yes.
She's smart.
Why did you name your cat that way and give him a French name?
We were going to call her Tuxedo because she's a tuxedo, a black and white cat. And my son said, "You can't call her Tux." No. So he looked up on the internet and said, "Oh, do you know Beauregard was the guy that invented the tuxedo?" So she's Beauregard.
And you know what that means in French?
What does it mean?
Beauregard means beautiful gaze.
Yes.
Yes. She must have beautiful eyes then.
She does.
Beautiful.
She does. Yeah.
Awesome. Now, let's take the happiness factor a couple of notches higher. What makes your heart sing? What makes your soul set on fire?
When I know the work that I'm doing is making a difference.
Oh, yes.
it would be great to not have to earn money and just do what we do because we love it. And it's always nice to get paid for it as well. But then the icing on that cake is, like, we were on a phone call this weekend with a couple, and we had been working with them with some nutritional things. And they both came on with these huge grins on their faces, and we're going, what is going on? And the man said, why didn't you tell us that the stuff you were suggesting was going to create miracles? And I went, well, I never know what the body's going to do with what it's given to do. And he held up his left hand, and he held up his right hand, and I guess he has arthritis. And he said, I was doing some stuff the other day and my ring fell off. The inflammation in my hand has gone down so much. My ring fell off. He said, look at this. You can see the knuckles have, and it was like, how nice. How nice. People are getting better. People are improving their health. That's a deep level of, I'm doing good in the world.
Beautiful.
Or when I'm working with people, like I had a guy recently that was in my authentic communication class. He's probably, I don't know, 60, maybe 55. He's inventing something. I've met his son. His son does glass blowing, and he came to my class, and he got some significant improvement in his communication over it. And I saw him one day at a meeting, and as he goes to leave, he's just standing there, and I'm standing there, and I kind of go, okay, you want a hug? So I give him a hug, and he goes, I love you.
Ah,
Aw, how nice. And it's because he loves who he's becoming
beautiful.
as a result of the work we've done.
Is it not the greatest reward?
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
For me, the two greatest rewards of business, number one, are the impact and the transformation I'm helping having people that I work with. And number two, the beautiful friendships and relationships I build in the process. The money is icing on the cake. It's not the cake.
Yes, I agree.
When you focus on the impact, transformation, and helping the other person achieve and attain whatever they want, then truthfully, the money is going to take care of itself. I've seen that countless times in my life. It's not cheesy. I used to think it was cheesy, but when I saw it, unfolding in front of my eyes in my own life, say, whoa, wait a second, what is this? It's not cheesy after all. It's for real.
I think the first person I ever heard say that was Deepak Chopra.
Yes.
He had a couple of daughters, and he said to the daughters, do what you love, the money will come. And I thought, wow, that's fantastic.
To an extent, you still need to be in a position to sustain yourself, because especially in the world is becoming more challenging. It's becoming increasingly expensive everywhere. Just do what you need to cover your basic costs, and then whatever extra time you have, go all in with your passion, with your heart.
Yes.
Until you can afford to just focus full time on what makes your heart sing.
Yeah.
And set yourself higher. Yeah.
And that's why I honor you taking off for, was it 6 months? Went to Europe, played around, did what you did, and
November 1st to April 15. So six and a half months.
Yeah. And I honor that you did.
Thank you. I needed that. I badly needed that. Trust me. I badly needed that. And I took 6 months off. I did maybe 2 or 3 podcast calls, recording. I had just one client because he was for my podcast academy, just because it was a family relative. And that guy really pushed me. So listen, just take my money. I want to do it. You don't have to do anything. I will learn it on my own. I said, okay, okay. But I didn't do anything with business wise. I still did one call with them once a week. But other than that, I didn't do anything. I just took time off.
Good.
I needed that to recharge. Yes.
Yeah.
I made so
what
many.
do you made some money? Go ahead. No, you go.
No, not money. I didn't make any money because I was top business. I made so many incredible connections, friendships. I grew so much personally. And in the process, I will tell you offline, I might have met a special lady too.
So, ooh, all right.
So, when you open your life and you open your heart to doing good, the universe blesses on multiple levels.
Yes. And so what do you think? I mean, if I was saying to you, oh, Payman, I don't know, I'm thinking about taking a 6-month hiatus and, putting on a backpack and couch surfing. And what do you think was if there was one thing that you had to say that was the thing you got the deepest?
The lesson that I learned, or what made me push to go there?
No, what was the lesson in the 6 months when you look at that 6 months and you go, oh my goodness, this is the one thing that who I became, yeah.
It's something that, it's not something that I didn't know. It just gave me further confirmation that life is too beautiful to be staying in just one location. And the process, I get to know 4 new countries: Italy, Malaysia, Turkey, and Greece. Process. Thailand already been before, but the world is too beautiful to and nowadays, I've been here. I enjoy being with family. Now finally the weather is getting nice. Since Wednesday of last week, we've been blessed with absolutely gorgeous weather. Not a single cloud in the sky. But it's nice. But there's a world out there to be explored, to be enjoyed, just to see. Because
have you been to New Mexico?
Listen, one of my high on my bucket list is 2 things, and a few years or 2 from now, get with a friend, rent an RV and go from first start in Canada, from Halifax on the East Coast, coast to coast, up to the Yukon and Alaska, and then go down and do the 50 states in the US. That's what I really want to do.
Well, the reason I ask is because here in New Mexico, we have about 360 days of sunshine a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now you get my attention. I'll switch.
Yeah. And if you come the first week, for the first 2 weekends in October, it's Balloon Fiesta.
Oh, wow.
And you better not drive, because you'll be like this the whole time, looking at the balloons. It's incredible.
Are you able at night to see the Milky Way once you get a little bit out of town?
Yeah.
That's one of my ultimate fantasies, to see the Milky Way. So far I saw it only once ago when I was working in the oil fields in Western Canada, way up north, close to the Arctic Circle. One night, it was so cold. The boss stopped just to get some gas. I didn't want to come out of the truck. He said, just come here for a second. All right, look up. I looked up, and after that I was mesmerized. And my boss was calling me, come on back in the truck. Come on back in the truck. I was my own boss. I couldn't forget about it. Before that, I couldn't even get outside for 10 seconds for more than I needed to. But then I completely forgot about the minus 45 Celsius.
Yeah.
I was like mesmerized.
Wow. It's cold.
Yes.
Yeah. I'll tell you when I saw the Milky Way. There is an area in the northwestern part of New Mexico. My father lived on Navajo Lake. It's a big lake. There's San Juan River, the Animas River are kind of all in that area. And he had a place up there. And I had never seen the Milky Way. And we were sitting outside of his place, one of my brothers and I, and I'm looking, leaning on the truck, and I'm looking up. And I'm seeing something go across the sky.
Shooting star.
It was actually a satellite.
Wow, you were able to see it?
I was able to see that, and it was like, it was going. I said, what is that? And they said, that's the Milky Way. I said, what is that? Is that a UFO? Oh, no, that's a satellite. But it was like amazing, absolutely amazing. But it was dark out there. There was no light pollution.
Here we live in the countryside outside of Toronto, so at night it's pretty dark. Whenever the sky allows it, even in the dead of winter, I go out and I just there. I have an app on my phone that tells me what star is it, what constellation. I mean, the map of the sky. And I just there's a highway, cars pass, and sometimes I find myself waving at the stars, wondering who's there. And I'm pretty sure some of the cars passing by wondering, what is this guy doing in the dead of winter? Is it crazy or what? Waving at the sky.
And if they would only stop and ask, you could say, yes, I am. I'm crazy about the night sky.
I'm saying hi to our galactic brothers and sisters, you know?
Yes. Yes, that's
I think
beautiful.
they would think I've lost my marbles if I were to say that to them, you know, but
Yeah, you never know. The
yeah.
universe may put them in your path so that they cross and say, oh my gosh, I think the same way.
The universe will put an astronaut on my path. Oh, wow. This is what I do for a job. Wow. What's your number? Let's connect.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be fun?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, you know, we've been talking so far about happy things. Now, let's talk about on the other side of the spectrum. What makes you sad and angry?
Oh.
We'll talk briefly about it.
Yeah, it's the mean things people do to each other.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree.
I have the privilege of working. In fact, I'm doing a class this weekend with the American Indian Chamber of Commerce.
Beautiful.
And I'm going to be working with their artisans on sales and authentic communication. And in conversation with the CEO of the chamber, he said, have you ever seen the movie The English? I said, no. He goes, oh, he said, boy, it's a great movie, well researched. And I thought, okay, I better go watch The English. It's actually a series. And oh my God, that movie reminded me of how inhumane we can be to one another.
Yes.
There's no reason for that.
I
That
agree.
makes me sad.
Oh, absolutely. I'm with you. 1,000,000,000%. Absolutely.
Yep.
Now, so you told you we're going to very briefly talk about it. Now, let's talk about something positive. What is your personal, what would you say is your personal superpower?
I think it's listening. Listening and asking questions, if I can put two things in there. I really think that is what I do. And let me tell you why I do it as well as I do, Payman. It is when I was in my 20s, I was going to the university and I learned sign language. I couldn't learn Spanish or French to save my life. You know, I would know a few words for a moment and then they would go away. And I even lived in a country for a while where they spoke French.
Which one?
I lived in Algeria.
Wow, that we could do an entire episode on that. You didn't tell me that. Okay, wow.
Yeah. So, but when I learned sign language, it was like, oh my gosh, this is easy. I must be a very visual learner. So I was able to get the concepts and put them into gestures. But also as a sign language interpreter, you have to listen. You have to listen because you're there to be of service to the hearing impaired person and the person that they're talking to, the hearing person that they're talking to. So to listen, to comprehend, to convert it into concepts, and be the gel that keeps all that together. So I learned to listen. And I used to study listening all the time. In fact, a friend of mine who was a mentor of mine said, Barbara, you listen better than anyone else. Why are you taking another class on listening? And I go, I don't know. I enjoy it. So that is my superpower. And then to be able to ask questions of people so that they're willing to, I mean, you do this, Payman. You are a master.
Thank you.
At listening and asking. Yeah, you bet.
I had to learn that, I've had quite a lot of practice, 250 podcast episode, almost 3 years.
Wow.
In the beginning, I wasn't like that. But, speaking of listening, I had a wonderful conversation earlier today, this afternoon, with a lady who has probably one of the most incredibly inspiring stories. So she has a very rare disease that for a short time completely prevented her the ability to speak, even to see. And now she can see again. She can talk, but maybe 40% of what a fully functioning adult can do. When she speaks, it's hard to understand. You have to focus. And I learned a very humbling and powerful lesson to her. I was just talking. We're talking, just sharing our stories. We'll always talk about speaking, and this is one of the things I teach in my program is don't speak from a script. Don't even speak from your mouth. Speak from the heart. And then I learned today, listen with the heart, not don't listen with your ears. Because what we tend, and I'm guilty of that at times myself, I admit it, and I'm ashamed of that at times. When I'm talking to someone, we're not always listening. We're just preparing in our head what we're going to say when it's our turn.
Yes.
I'm the first to admit it. I do it. I know I need to change it. And that's not very nice, not respectful. But then that lady taught me, hey, you need to be fully present in the moment to pay attention to what the person's saying, not just listening, but hearing them. Fully focused, almost like laser focus. When you do that, just like when you speak from the heart, that's when the magic connection happens. When you listen with the heart, not with your ears only, that's when an even bigger connection appears, because the person is finally seeing that, hey, I'm actually being heard, not just being listened to passively, just waiting for the person to be their turn. And that's tremendously powerful.
Yes. So you've known this, but you got it on a deeper level.
Absolutely.
Today, I need to see, I see hearing is just a function of the ears and the ear canal and the three little bones and the drums and the cochlea and all that stuff. That's just hearing. But listening, like between the lines.
Listening with a heart.
Yes. And listening not to what you're going to say next, but just listening.
Because what most of us do, and I'm the first time I'm guilty of that, you just look in the person in the eyes, but your mind is already formulating what you're going to say when it's your turn to speak.
Yeah.
That's not polite. We all do it.
We do.
It's natural. It's natural, but then we need to change that. We need to laser focus, be in the moment, listen to what they're saying, empty your mind, focus your mind on what that person is saying, imagining in your mind, seeing, picturizing this vividly so that you can fully immerse yourself. And when you do that, that's when, just like when you speak from the heart, when you listen from the heart, that's when true magic happens. Connection at the highest and deepest level.
Yeah. So what was the takeaway you got after that conversation? Was there anything in particular that was it tell me?
Two things. First thing, when I meet people, we talk. So what's your story? My story. I share how podcasting changed my life. I tell them all the benefit that podcasting has brought into my life, all the blessing. And then she was just listening, smiling, and said, so what's the benefit for your audience, for your students? How is that going to benefit them to start a podcast? So well, it's going to allow them to get clients on, but say, but what's a deeper, what exactly benefit them? So well, and then I said, wait a second. I remembered, at the end of each class, I have a graduation party. I asked my student, what was holding you back all this time to launch your podcast? And then one reason, and that's something that was holding me back as well, was who am I to start a podcast? I don't have a PhD. I'm not a celebrity. I'm not whatever. I don't have a massive audience. My story doesn't matter. My voice doesn't matter. And my job, my main purpose is to make these people realize that their story matters. Their voice matters. The fact that they've made it so far in life, that by itself is a phenomenal achievement. Their message, them sharing their story, not on my podcast, but on their podcast, if they can inspire just one person, empower one person to do good, to gain back the belief in themselves, the confidence, then that to me is success. I said, wow, then that should be your pitch, not the getting the clients, getting the new lifestyle, getting back on your feet financially. These are nice. But the real deeper benefit is giving confidence to someone to say, hey, my story matters. I matter. My voice matters. Because a lot of us have been led to believe that, and I had a wonderful conversation earlier just before this podcast with a lady. She was raised the old-fashioned way. Be seen, but don't be heard. Just keep quiet. Play in your own, let the adults talk. When the adults talk, don't say anything. Just be quiet.
Yep.
And that's something that was holding her back for first 30 years of her life, professionally, personally and all that. And finally said, I can't keep on going like this. She started taking like public speaking classes. And that's what allowed her to overcome that. So again, it's all about giving that confidence, that self-belief in people. Hey, my voice matters. My story matters. I matter. Yes. And that's the ultimate benefit. She made me realize that of what I provide to people. And Now, honestly, I told her when she said, this should be a pitch, I said, you know what? I wish I was recording this because this is a goal. I never looked at it this way. I'm going to reframe my marketing, my messaging, everything to that.
How nice.
Seriously.
Their story matters. Your story matters. And that is what you give.
Yes.
That is the feedback, the encouragement.
Yes.
Good for you.
I'm the cheerleader. I'm the coach. You know,
yes, you are.
I've always been the biggest cheerleader for people. I'm always pushing them to go after their dreams, to follow their heart.
Yeah.
And this, honestly, I believe deep down that this is my biggest, personal superpower, to be a cheerleader for people, to empower them, to inspire them.
You do it well.
Thank you.
You do it well. Yes.
Sometimes we tend not to appreciate fully, to its full value, our skills, our gifts, because for us, it's nothing special. We take them for granted.
Yeah, doesn't everybody do that?
I do that all day long with people I talk to. This, what do you do? Oh, I'm a coach. I do this. Okay. But then I listen to them for 5 minutes. Wow. This should be something. You remember when I was talking to you guys, you and Norm the other day, and you said you guys been amazingly happy for what, 40, 50, 1,000 years together?
So, I'm 43.
43. All right. Let's round it up.
But who's counting, right? Yeah.
Let's round it up to 60. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good.
So that could be a phenomenal gift, phenomenal thing that you can coach other couples how to keep the joy, the spark alive. Because sometimes it takes, an unbiased pair of eyes to tell us what is obvious for us that we don't appreciate. We take it for granted. When I saw you guys together, it was as if I was talking to two teenage kids in love. Still the same thing as the first day. The way he was looking at you, the way you're looking at him, it was, what came to mind? Love is in the air, that song.
Yes.
Seriously. Yeah. This was the best representation of it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
No, but very welcome. The reason I'm saying this because we don't fully appreciate our gifts, our talents.
True.
And this is one thing that I was not until that lady, she's an angel. She made me realize it. She made me look at it that way. That was a big way. Maybe I rambled a little bit, but that was.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. That in the conversation that you find yourselves in, you also are in the conversation.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Wow. You're not. You're not. I hear you say sometimes you're going, oh, what am I going to say next? What am I going to say next? And sort of in the role that you play, it's expected you're going to ask questions. So you may be thinking, okay, what's the next? But you also are in the conversation with her, and you are with me.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Love that. Now, a couple of fun questions. Tell us one thing that you didn't value before that you're now valuing.
Something I didn't value in the past that I value now.
Yes. It can be a value. It can be an item, whatever. You're the star of the show. It's about you.
Oh, I mean, I've got thoughts going zing, 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 zing. I'm just going to grab one.
Grab the first one.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. I don't know. When you first said that, a thought came to mind, and then I said, no, not that one. And I should have said yes, that one, and brought it to me. What do I value now that I didn't value in the past? I really believe that it's, I believe that every encounter, every person that I connect with, I believe every one of those connections is special. It's magic. It has a purpose, and I don't necessarily believe that there's somebody out there in the sky that's pushing people around and saying you two are going to meet. But I do believe that that innate intelligence in us brings us together.
Absolutely.
And that I think I've done for years and years, cross paths with people and just thought, oh, well, they're gone or not. But I think it's that human connection no, it's not the human connection. It's the soul, the being connection. That is what I've learned to value. Yeah.
Now, conversely, what was one thing that you didn't value, but now you're valuing? Wait, didn't you just answer that?
I did.
No, there's two questions. One, the first aspect.
Now the opposite.
Yes, exactly.
What did I value that I don't value now?
Yes.
As a kid, I thought that the religion I was brought up in was the answer to everything. It was a very regimented, black and white. You do this, you don't do this. This is true, this is not true. There's a heaven, there's a hell. There's a God, there's a devil. There's all those opposites. I don't believe
you don't do this, you're gonna burn in hell. Yes.
Yeah, I don't believe that anymore.
Absolutely, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Now, you love traveling, right?
I do.
All right, we can do an entire episode or even a season just on travel, but we'll do that in the future. But for now, I want to take you down to different types of traveling, down memory lane. Go back to when you were growing up. When we were kids, people around us, parents, teachers, family, friends, always ask us, Barbara, what do you want to become when you grow up? What was your answer as a little girl to that question?
I want to be an explorer.
What kind?
I didn't know. I just knew I wanted to explore. I can remember as a kid, we lived by a big valley in northern New Mexico, and my friends and my sister and I would go down there, and there was this little green hill. It was just a little one, we don't have a lot of grass here in New Mexico. We're pretty dry. We have a lot of dirt, and people come to New Mexico and say, man, it's so brown, but it's really not. But anyway, there was this little green knoll, and I used to lay on the knoll and just look up into the sky and go, I want to explore. And I didn't know if it meant, and at the time, was it explore the world, explore countries, explore nations, explore different people, cultures. But what I get now is that I am an explorer. I'm exploring I'm exploring people.
Beautiful.
Finding out about them.
Beautiful.
And I do love to travel.
Absolutely. As I said, we can do not just an entire episode, but an entire season, even a podcast, me and you and Norm, just on your traveling. We might do that in the future, but
yeah.
So growing up, what was your relationship with school? Did you love school or did you hate school?
I was good at school.
What was your favorite subject?
Recess, no.
Sports?
I wasn't into sports.
Okay.
I was good at school. The classes I took, I did well. I remember in high school taking a class in art, and we had to go up to La Bajada Hill, which is near me, and we would I had a truck. We put the dirt in the back of the truck, and we would take the dirt back to the classroom, and we made clay pots out of it. That was a fun class.
Wow.
I remember taking shorthand and filing and typing, and that was my way to get in and get a job. I was a wallflower, Payman. I was really a wallflower. When I went back to my high school reunion, probably 10th, it was like I looked around and went, I don't know who any of these people are. And when you talk about seen and not heard, I believe that's also why I got into sign language. So I could be seen, but I didn't have to be heard. I didn't have to engage.
Yes.
And there came a time where I went, this isn't working for me. Yeah.
So was there a subject that you could not stand at all in school?
The toughest course I took was one at the university level, which was statistics.
Me too.
It was tough. I don't know what was the block? What is it about statistics that makes it tough?
For me, numbers bore me.
Oh,
I,
I'm good with numbers,
I'll make a
but
confession. I had to take accounting 3 times in college to finally pass it. I was too bored to falling asleep. I'm not a detail
Mm.
guy. I'm more a high level idea guy. So
Mhm.
accounting is not for me.
Well, at least you took accounting. I've never taken accounting, and yet I do my books with my business.
Good for you.
Um, yeah. So I learn it by doing.
Beautiful, beautiful. So you mentioned a little bit now. I want you to expand on that. So imagine that we're in the same class in grade 10 and grade 11. What type of student or girl were you back then? Were you the shy type? Were you the chatterbox? Were you the life of the party? Were you the nerd?
No, I was shy. I
Okay.
was in the room. I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. In fact, I can remember a history class,
Hmm.
and the instructor, I think, was also a coach. So he was missing a lot. So we would go into class and he would say, open up your books and read this and I'll be back. And we'd all sit there and go, what are we doing here? And there was some guy in class that he was I think he was a pothead. And so he
Wow.
and I would sit there and talk. And
Ah,
and that's, so that's, but I did what I was supposed to do for the most part. And I stayed in my chair. I didn't get up. I didn't, get up and make a fool of myself, but would sit in the back and talk to the pothead.
yeah. Wow. What was your very first job? And do you remember how much you got paid for that first job?
I don't remember what I got paid. It probably wasn't much, but I lived in a mobile home park.
Okay.
When we first settled in Albuquerque, my father had moved like every 6 months or so. He moved, and my mom said, I am tired of cleaning up other people's messes. We're going to buy a mobile home so that we can at least take the home with us wherever we go. We
Smart.
moved once. We moved once. And so we were living in this mobile home park, and we had to go pay the rent for the lot, and I was usually the one that would walk over and pay the rent. And I thought this would be a great place to work because it was close to home. I could walk it, kind of office skills, management skills. I could file. And so every time I'd go in, I'd ask the guy that owned the place, Mr. Weaver, or that ran it, Mr. Weaver, I want to work here. Will you hire me? And he'd say, no, I'm not hiring anybody. So can't do it right now. Okay. Go back in the next month. Hey, Mr. Weaver, how are you doing? Hey, are you hiring anybody yet? And I can't believe I was so bold to keep going and asking. And he finally hired me. And I don't remember what I was making. It didn't matter. The one job I do remember was $75 a week. This was back in 1976.
So how much equivalent would that be of today's money?
Oh, that'd be a bunch. I have no idea. And I remember as an interpreter making $10 an hour, which now is like less than minimum wage. But
Yeah.
at the time, I thought that was big bucks.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So
If you're making $75 a week and then you went to make $10 an hour, that's a big upgrade.
mhm,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Beautiful. Now, let's move forward. Let's talk about your
Mhm.
path from the moment you left school to now. How would you describe it? Would you say once you get into one lane, you were pretty much set for life and, smooth sailing? Or was it more like a turns and twists, like a roller coaster?
Absolutely. So the second, yeah, it was definitely a roller coaster. Got out of college, worked for a year as a teacher in the public school system. I lasted an entire year, Payman, an entire year. And I went, no, this is not my cup of tea. I don't want to do this. I didn't go to school for all this stuff to sit in a room and babysit, which is how I saw it.
Wow.
So I quit that job. Within a couple of months, got another job working. This is when the computers were first coming out. So this was early 80s when they went from mainframes to a desktop computer. And I went to work for a man who had a company. He knew I could do secretarial stuff, so I came and did the secretarial stuff, learned how to take a disk out of a drive and put it in the other drive and copy things. And I learned word processing, database management, spreadsheets. And then they closed after about 9 months. I was out of a job again. And I met a woman through a referral, through networking, who had a title company. And so I went to work for them. She wanted to take this paper title company, put it into a computer. I knew enough about computers to be dangerous. So she hired me. So I spent 9 months looking at what the heck is a title? I had never bought a house. So it was like whole new skill set. And in about 9 months, they closed and moved back to California. And so that's when Norman and I both went. We were married at the time. We'd been married since I was at the public schools. We said, I've got my skills in teaching computers. He had his skills in teaching, leadership development, computers. We said, let's just start our own business. So we did. And we taught people how to use computers. And we taught large organizations, City of Albuquerque, Sandia National Labs, Los Alamos National Labs, General Electric. We would go in and teach their people how to use computers. And we were so good at it, we taught ourselves right out of a job.
Wow.
We had no business sense. And so then that's when we shifted. Norm said he's going to get a degree. He went and got his chiropractic degree, and I was the interpreter in those classes. So yeah, is it a straight road? No. Is it up and down? Yes. Then we had kids. I stayed home. I homeschooled the kids, and just little by little developed leadership skills.
Speaking of homeschooling, how challenging is that? Because that's something that I keep hearing more and more people doing it, and nowadays it's probably a wise idea to do so nowadays, given what's being taught to kids in school. So share with us. I can do an entire podcast alone. That's a massive topic, but that's something I'm quite curious about.
Payman, when I started homeschooling my kids, I had a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and probably a newborn. And my 4-year-old was reading chapter books.
Wow.
And I went, how can I put her into the public school system? She's going to become a problem child. She's going to act out because she's bored. I thought I'll just homeschool her. And there was an organization, a group here in Albuquerque that were called Unschoolers. And unschooling is really about not doing, I did not have a curriculum. I didn't bring the classroom into my home, because when you're the mom, it's hard to be the principal and the teacher.
Sure.
I wasn't going to do it. So with my kids, that's why I homeschooled. It wasn't because I thought what they were teaching in the schools was bad or any of that stuff. I did it because it was the right thing to do.
So did you go to the schools and ask them to let you borrow some of the books, or you just get one book for them and
okay, let's go to the library.
Wow.
Hop in the car, let's go. So we'd go to the library, and we'd spend hours in the library. And my oldest daughter was known to come home, with her, I can't see all of me, but her hands down below her here and books up to here, and she'd be walking out of the library. And I remember somebody looking at her one time saying, "Are you going to read all those?" She goes, "Yeah." And she did. And she'd go to I remember one time her bringing home a bunch of books on religion, Buddhism, Catholicism, Wicca, all these different books. And she brought them home, and she decided she was going to study religions. This is a 10-year-old. Yeah.
She was on the path to become a genius.
Yeah. And she's pretty darn smart.
So speaking of that, how did you were able to basically to handle the examination aspect of schooling? So going to exams and going from primary school to middle school and then university and all that? We
didn't.
Wow.
The nice thing was we learned that the schools teach all these tests. They have to take all these tests. what that is so that the school can get funding for special ed or gifted kids or all that stuff. We're homeschooling. We don't get any of that money, so we didn't have to take the tests. And then they got their GED, whatever, general educational diploma. And my oldest, when she got it with honors. Did you know they have GEDs with honors?
That's amazing.
She got it. I went.
That allowed her to get into university after that, right?
Well, they still had to take the SAT or the ACT or that thing. So they still had to do that. So we had to learn how to fill in the dots. And when she took her GED, I think, and it could have even been the ACT, she says, Mom, it's mostly reading. Even science is mostly reading.
Must have been pretty easy for her because at school they really dumbed down what is being taught. Just teaching them to be drones, yes ma'am, yes sir, type of to prepare them to be employees. But when you've done yourself, you can think outside the box. You can creatively solve a problem.
Yes.
You know?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wow.
And that is what creativity is.
Yeah.
So I used to think that creativity was just, oh, can I make something pretty or can I do a drawing? But creativity is really solving any problem. So, yeah, so, and I feel for the parents that weren't ready to homeschool when COVID hit. I really do. It took me a while to get it, the toughness that was for them, because I was like, well, you just bring them home, do what you did between the ages of 0 and 5.
Yeah.
You just keep letting them explore, letting them see things, see them differently, listen to them. Yeah.
Let them learn what they want to learn. There is a famous French educator, I forgot his name, from the end of the 19th century. He devised a special type of education curriculum, which is not on what they need to learn. Sure, but at the start of the day, and I actually worked for such a school in China for a semester. And these are very young kids, like under 5. Okay, today you have the choice between pottery or between cooking. For example, something basic, or between soccer, football, or drawing. Let them decide.
Yes.
Let them understand from an early age the power, not only of decision, but to make them understand that they can decide what they want to do. That's very empowering, especially at that young age. And let them get their hands dirty. Let them play with a paste to make that pizza. Let them cut those bananas or whatever, whatever they want, sausages, cheese. Let them get their hands dirty with the pottery, because that is tremendously empowering for the kids, much more than trying to let them to listen to a boring class. Good luck keeping their attention. Whereas when they play, even us as adults, we love to learn to play. So I absolutely love this approach.
Yeah. Oh, and I did that with my kids. My oldest loved to read. We went to the library. The next one loved to dance. She took all kinds of dance and acting classes, and the next one loved horses. So we got horses. She learned to ride. She did vaulting. Do you know what vaulting is?
Like jumping on the high vault.
Well, in gymnastics, that's what it is.
Oh,
but they do it on the back of a horse, on the back of a walk, trot, or canter. So they're doing handstands. They're doing all kinds of stuff on the back of a horse.
Wow.
So she learned that. And then my son, who was the last, he'd go to the library, he'd take acting classes, he got into horses. He just whatever the girls are doing, he'd go along.
You know, with the current abysmal state of education, that could be something that you can come in and devise the new curriculum for kids. That's something that you can play a role, not as an educator, but as a leader.
Yeah.
And do that and shape the way the new generations are being taught. And I can see this to be $1 billion business, because more and more parents are sick and tired of what's being not just taught, but, poisoning the minds of our youth in schools.
There is a YouTube video, maybe it was a TED Talk, but I think it was a YouTube video. And somebody, it's one of those where someone is talking and you see the drawing happening while they're talking about it.
Yeah.
And it talked about when we got into the industrial age, what they did is they wanted the kids to be able to go through this conveyor belt and come out the other side and be a good employee.
Say yes, no,
But
and yeah, follow orders. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. And I did not do that.
beautiful.
My four kids are all very independent. They are each unique
And
in their own
I can imagine
uniqueness.
highly successful as a result of that.
They are. They
Beautiful.
are.
That's the greatest achievement and reward as a parent.
It is. It is. Yes.
Not just
Absolutely.
the financial or the professional success, but the fact that they can think on their own,
hmm
can,
hmm
use their brain
hmm
than other people.
Yeah. And they do. And they all get along.
That's powerful.
They get along with people. Not to say we all have to get along, but at least they're not, and they're contributing members of society. They
Beautiful.
each contribute their own beautiful way.
Beautiful. Love that.
Mm.
Wow. That's what I love talking to you. It doesn't sound like a podcast episode, but more like a conversation. Friends,
Yeah.
we can go going for the only thing missing is a good bottle of wine,
Okay.
and chocolate. We'll get
Yeah.
that in person when we meet, the two of us.
Yes.
All
Yeah, it's
right.
a little early in the day, but
Oh,
yeah, we'll
yeah,
get
you guys
there.
are 3 hours ahead. Yes, yes, yes. All right. Now let's move forward.
hmm
There is a saying that says, change your story, change your life. And by story, I mean what we tell ourselves inside our head all day long. So when you, Barbara, you had some of your most challenging, darkest times in your life, how did you change your story internally to change your reality externally?
Recently, I don't even remember what the idea was, but sometimes I'll wake up in the middle of the night and things start running. And I remember recently having something start running, and I just went into the mantra of let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go. And if I'm having to focus on let it go, the words, I can't think about the thing itself.
Mhm.
And that created peace. So yeah, that's one of the ways I've changed my thinking and changed my life. Are you familiar with Abraham Hicks?
Oh, I'm addicted to Abraham and Asterix. You know what I love to do? I love downloading videos from YouTube.
Mm,
I love going on long walks for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and just listen to those at
yeah.
2x speed. Imagine listening to Barbara to
Yeah.
Asterix at 2x speed. Like, your ears,
I did that with a book one time, and I found if I listened to it at 2x, I could not drive because I was concentrating so hard on the words. I was like, oh my gosh, I am not here. I am not behind the wheel. I am listening.
Don't do that. It's not safe.
But walking, I could do it. Yes.
But
Yeah.
after a while, just like anything is a muscle, you get used to it. And then
Yeah.
once you start listening again to a normal speed, you're kind of bored and falling asleep. It's what I feel when I watch normal show, that normal speed.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you.
Love that. Now, tell us now about, there's so many things we can talk about because you have a phenomenal story, but for the sake of time, tell us about your business, your impact nowadays.
Norm and I have done network marketing in nutrition for 27 years. And thank goodness. We built a significant income. Nothing is guaranteed, but we built a significant income. And so it's like we get a check every Friday.
Beautiful.
And that's a nice thing. But what I'm loving, and something you said earlier, there was a man I met about a year and a half ago. We sat down for coffee and talked, and he worked for the University of New Mexico. He does the sales center, and he created that sales center. And he said to me, would you come and coach my students? And I went, that sounds like fun. Teach them how to do sales? Oh, that sounds like fun. I've been doing this for 20 some odd years.
Wow.
In my own network marketing business. And he saw something in me which I didn't see in myself. And you were talking about that earlier. That made a big shift for me. And so the impact of what I'm doing now, not only with the students, but also the work I'm doing with authentic communication, I feel like I'm really making an impact. I'm helping people be nicer and more other focused
Beautiful.
when they're networking, when they're in organizations, when they are being in conversation with people. Because you're absolutely right. We sit there and we think, oh, what am I going to say next? What am I saying? Okay, hurry up and finish so I can say what I'm going to say. And instead of going, oh,
Just
tell me
fighting
more.
the urge to jump in, and cut them off.
Yeah. I say, tell me more. Tell me more. Tell me
That's
more.
the most empowering thing you can say to anyone. Tell me more. You see them lighting up like a Christmas tree.
Yeah. Like,
summer
oh
day.
gosh. That's true. So that's the impact. Payman, that's the impact I feel like I'm having now, is I'm changing, hopefully I'm changing the way entrepreneurs interact.
Beautiful. Another powerful realization I came across, and I was talking about this very topic just before you, the other lady I had a podcast episode with, is that, we go through our journey in life.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we may be doing something, whether it's a hobby or a professional career, that when you look at it, the two things may be completely unrelated. But whatever you might be doing when you were 6 years old, and now as a grown business lady, you realize that, hey, everything connects, everything prepares you for what to be next. That specific lady said when she was 8 years old, her father built like a stage on the deck where they can do shows. One kid would come because it was dancing, another good at jumping, another good at singing and sharing stories or sharing, jokes. It was just a thing for the kids to have fun. But that prepared her now. She's a speaker. Look back at this as a first training to be a public speaker. So now you, Barbara, when you look at your life, the progression of all the things you've done so far, would you say that everything, if you put them on a wall and map them, would you see a linear progression that everything prepared you for the next step? And what you're doing now is preparing you for your next chapter.
I have looked at that often, Payman, and I really do believe, like, I go, how did I get here? How did I get here from there?
Yes, absolutely.
And I see it more as like I'm walking across a river. I don't know why a river, but I'm walking across a river. And there are stepping stones. They're hot.
Flow of life.
And maybe, and the flow is this way, and I'm walking across it, going across the current. And then I take the next step, and I can look back and go, that's why I did that. That's why that happened. Oh, that's why this turn I took this turn. I went this way. So yeah, it absolutely makes sense where I am, building on the past.
One thing that is blatantly obvious, and I mentioned that to you, both of you, when I had the pleasure of having both of you on the call. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you started studying sign language before meeting Norm, right?
Oh, yeah.
That by itself was a sign of destiny.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
The fact that he went deaf.
Yes.
Is a sign of destiny. Yes.
Yeah. And that you guys connected, and he used to have, anxiety and wasn't connecting with the ladies he was dating before you, but then with you was bam, as if like glue to glue from the start.
Yes. He's very clever.
I noticed that.
Very clever.
No, but seriously, it's beautiful when you look at things from this perspective. Really understand that for the higher purpose, for what they really truly are.
Yeah, I will tell people, you cannot make a mistake.
Your mistakes are your most beautiful, precious teachers.
Yes.
You either learn or you earn. Either way, you benefit.
Yeah. We used to tell our kids, not when they'd leave, okay, be careful, we'd say, take risks.
Because you cannot earn if you're not learning, unless it's a fluke. But if it's a fluke, it's not going to last.
Right. Yeah, you have to learn. And that is how we learn.
And I love what you said, take risks.
Yeah.
Imagine if parents were asking the kids, what risk did you take today that got you one step closer to your goal?
Yeah. I can't I can't say, Payman, that I wasn't real goal oriented. I really felt like for the greater part of my life, I just sort of put one foot in front of the other. See what's here. Where do I go now? Okay, this is where I'm heading. I go that direction. So a lot of people are very goal oriented. Though, this is one thing I'm going to make sure I get done this year. That's been a struggle. That's not been the way I've moved forward.
It's probably because from my personal experience, when I put a big goal, I want to do this year, it's not happening because it's too big. Instead, say, what can I do today?
Yeah.
Each day, step by step. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Yes.
Because if you put an elephant in front of even a famished guy or person, they're not going to be able to do anything. But one at a time. Same thing here.
Yeah.
How to become a six-figure coach? Find out how you can get your first paying client within 30 days with just one platform. Then repeat, duplicate to get your second client, third client, fourth client. Before you know it, you reach your goal. But hey, let me show you how to become a six-figure client for someone who's never done it. They're going to be overwhelmed. They're not going to do it because it's all about, can I do it?
Yeah.
And once you convey that to the person, hey, you can do it. Make it small bits. Goes, oh, I can do that. It's not hard.
Right.
You want to lose weight, get in shape? That's too much. People are busy. Let me show you how to lose 10 pounds in 1 month with just one exercise. Going to take you 5 minutes a day. That's push-up. Do 5 push-ups. The next week, do 5 more. Then and add more each week. And before you know it, you'll be doing sets of 100. And once you reach that level, you'll be jacked.
There you go. So long as you're not eating pie to reward yourself for doing the 5 push-ups.
Or drinking alcohol and all that. Yes, absolutely. That's beautiful. Yes.
Yes.
No, that's lovely. No, this is beautiful. I love this conversation and
yes, thank you.
Very welcome. Now, let's move forward. Let me see. Speaking of your business, what would you say is your ideal client?
I'll tell you about the fun clients I've had, and those are my ideal ones. I got to go into an office where there were 6 people that all worked there. It was a construction company. And they asked me to come in and do some communication, some authentic communication with them. That was so much fun. I was totally off script by the time the class was done. But there were so many aha moments that several of the people that work there went, yeah, they got it. They really got it. And she's going to actually bring me back in and do some more. That was fun. That's my ideal conversation with people. I'm really looking forward to the work I'm going to do this weekend with the American Indian Chamber. It would be like, because any group of people that have their own culture, and here I am, a white elder coming in, teaching them about how to do sales, how to sell their art and do it effectively. I'm really looking forward to the meeting with the people, being in their space, having the conversations. So my ideal client would be an organization that's looking to improve their internal communication with each other. Maybe an organization that has a bunch of salespeople and are saying, hey, let's bring something different in. I would love that to be who I work with, because I go in and I not only teach, but I also coach. It's all through the process. I'm not a speaking head. It's okay, here's the idea, practice, do it. Yeah.
Beautiful.
So did that answer your question on my ideal client?
Yes,
okay.
I love it
right.
because you explain it in a concrete way with actual examples. I love that.
Okay.
Now, how are you getting your clients? How are you finding those ideal clients of yours?
What has been most effective is there's an organization here in town that does a lunch and learn.
Oh, yes.
I volunteer. I go in, I do an hour-and-a-half lunch and learn, and that's where a lot of my clients are coming from right now. They come into the class, they get a taste of what I do, and then they say, oh, can you work with my organization? Can you work with, I know another organization you could work with. Could you work with them? It's been referral based so far.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Share with us an example of the most remarkable transformation you've seen from one of your clients so far.
One of my clients, he's a startup here in town, and he's got a wife, a couple of kids. He kind of lives on a farm, and he took my class. And I'm in one of the places we were, I said something to him about notice how much they're interrupting each other. And he went, oh yeah, I do that all the time to my wife. And so a couple of weeks later, we were at a function and his wife was there. And he said, my wife really appreciates you, Barbara, because I'm not interrupting her anymore. So it's when people take what they learn and they don't just do it in the sales process, but they do it in their personal life. I'm making an impact.
Beautiful. Sales is not just about business. Sales is about interacting with people. You want to convince your son, your daughter, your girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, let's go eat this instead of this, go watch this movie. Or the ultimate sale. Will you marry me? You know?
Yeah, yeah.
No, absolutely.
And I do want to hear about who you met on your journey around the
We'll do that
the globe
after the call.
Another time.
Yes, absolutely. Probably better when Norm is here so you can compare notes with how you guys, met.
Yeah, we can say, I don't know. Do you think that's, I don't know. Yeah, that's a great, why didn't we think of that? Yeah.
We can do another podcast for you. I love talking to both of you. So much fun.
Yeah, thank you. We love talking
to
you
welcome.
as well.
Very welcome. Now, one question I want to ask you now is, and you know the question, let me see. I have so many questions, but anyways, there's so much, but let's move forward. Let's wrap this up. And we can definitely do a part 3 to cover some other aspects. But for now, I'd like to end this call with another series of rapid fire questions rapid fire questions on advices. I want to pick your brain and get some of your wisdom. Ready?
Ready.
What has been so far the best piece of advice that you've received in your life?
You can do it.
So simple. It's so powerful. Beautiful.
Yeah.
And what has been so far the worst piece of advice that you've received in your life? Other than get a job. Who do you think you are?
No, I never got that. But I did have someone that I was mentoring with who we were going to go to an event and get additional education. And he said, you have no business going to take that. No business going to do that because you have no money to do that with. And I kicked myself around quite a bit for that one. I mean, it's not like we could never, ever do it, but I believe it made a difference.
Absolutely.
And I love the guy that gave me the advice. He's passed on. He's probably sitting here right in my room now going.
He fulfilled his mission to give you the kick in the butt, the fire to get you going. Yeah.
That's right. Yes.
Thank you, wherever you are.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, imagine that you were blessed with a time machine and you could face to face with an 18-year-old Barbara. What's the number one piece of advice you would give to her knowing all that you know now?
I think it would be to don't be afraid to get out. Do it.
Just do it.
Don't hold back. Just do it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Do you have your own podcast?
I know a man who teaches podcasts. And
I'm interested.
But he's not competition for you. He's not competition for you. No.
Okay.
And I've thought about doing a podcast, Payman. After our conversations and our meetings, it's like, how would this work? I haven't made a decision to or to not do it yet. And I'm still in the looking zone.
All right. Imagine that you went ahead and you started your podcast, and today your podcast is very popular. And today you have the most special person in the world that you're interviewing, and that is yourself. You're interviewing yourself. What is the first question you want to ask yourself? Don't think too much. The first question that comes to your mind.
What's the so I'm interviewing myself. It's more like, what's the difference you're going to make today, tomorrow? What's the, what's that? It's more about that. Even though I'm not much of a goal setter, it's like, who are you going to make a difference with today?
And what's your answer?
Well, it starts with me. Makes a difference with myself.
Love
taking
that.
myself on, taking myself out.
Love that. The last question I want to ask you, and that is the last question I ask my guests, and that is my favorite question to ask. And that is, what is the smallest thing you've done so far in your life? And by small, I don't mean something small. I mean the one thing that has had the greatest, deepest, most profound, positive impact in both your life and business. For me, as you know, it's been starting my podcast. What about you, Barb?
Saying yes. Saying yes. That is the biggest thing.
Saying yes
to an opportunity. Saying yes. Even when I go, I don't know about this. It's kind of like when the gentleman said, how would you like to coach my students? And I went, I have no idea what I'm saying yes to, but sure. I'll say yes. I'll take that risk.
Beautiful.
Yeah, saying yes. I don't like saying no.
When you say no, you close doors, you close opportunities, you close the universe, the flow of energy and frequencies.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. And on that note, what's the next thing that you need to say yes to? I'm not going to say it. You know what it is?
Gee, I don't know. What is it? Let's see. Take your class.
No, it's not about taking my class. It's about sharing your story, your wisdom on your platform, on your podcast, whether it's with me or someone else. You need to do it.
Yeah.
Because you have so much wisdom to share, not just you, but it would be fun actually for you to start 2 podcasts, one just you and one the both of you. And so actually 3 podcasts, one you, one both of you, and one him, Norm. Seriously.
Wait, we'd be full timers doing podcasts, wouldn't we?
And it would blow up your your reach, your story, your wisdom, your business. So, but it doesn't take much time. Keep it short, 20, 30 minutes a day.
When we were talking to you before, and you said what you do is you invite people onto the podcast who would be your ideal customer, your ideal client. You invite them on. And I thought, there's a woman I'm actually prospecting in Santa Fe. And I thought, what would it be like if I said to her, I've got a podcast. I would like you to come onto my podcast and tell me how you came about creating this company that the work you're doing. Yeah. Tell me your story.
As opposed to you trying to pitch, hey, let me see how I can help your business. Result in 3 answers. No, thank you. No answer. So I'll use someone else. So there you go. You know the answer. The universe is guiding you.
Yes. And thank you for being part of my universe.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure. And thank you for being part of my universe. For you guys, both of you. Seriously, you've been an absolute blessing. And I mean it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So listen, are you going to the serving circle tonight?
I will see. I've been on calls all day long. Yeah, I might go for a walk, but love to, because I have a beautiful piece of wisdom I want to share with them, that I shared with you, which is the power of not just speaking with the heart, but also listening with the heart. So if I'm not there, if you get a chance, share that for me.
Okay. I've got it on my notes.
Beautiful. So listen, Barbara, absolute pleasure. If someone wants to connect with you, what's the best way to do so?
My email, my phone number, my text, my website.
You sure want to give your phone number on our YouTube video?
Oh, I probably shouldn't give my phone number. They might text me at 3 a.m. Yeah, probably
Yeah,
not.
someone tried to track you, there's police out there,
There are.
I wouldn't
Probably
recommend that.
email or
Yes.
website. Yes, there you go. Do you want me to put it in the chat for you, or you have it?
Say them briefly for people that will
Okay.
listen, but I will also can send them later to me and I will put them in the show notes after. So
Okay.
mention them.
Okay, so my name again is Barbara Dawson, and my email is Barbara, BARBARA, at Purple Mulch, PURPLEMULCH.
Where did that name come from?
I'm a gardener. I
Ah.
love to be in the dirt. And what the short story is, purple mulch is what I do with people. Here in New Mexico, especially, we've got to mulch the ground to keep the water in the soil so it doesn't evaporate. So what I do with people is I mulch them. When I work with them, I mulch them. I put a protective covering around them and I help them grow. And purple is just a great color.
Beautiful.
And my website is purplemulch.com.
Beautiful, beautiful. Listen, absolute honor. This is one of the conversations I don't want to end, but we'll definitely do a part 3. I salute you. You're a true leader with art. You're an amazing human being, wonderful. I'm delighted to call you now wonderful friend. Keep shining your light, keep blessing the world with your presence, with your impact, with your vision, your mission, your work, your smile, your contagious happiness. Just keep blessing the world with your presence. Stay safe, stay awesome. God bless you, my wonderful friend. Definitely have a wonderful day. And as we say here, have a fantabulous rest of the day.
Thank you.
And we're definitely going to be talking a lot more in the future. I mean, very soon, because there's so much more we can talk on the podcast.
Okay. Thank you
Have
so
a
much,
wonderful
Payman.
day. Take care.
You
Bye-bye.
too. Bye-bye.